Hi everyone, Sherry here. Welcome back to another vlog. In today's video, I just want to share some good news that I have been implementing the strategies that I talked about in the last few videos about doing things more like an assembly line and doing like the same thing in a row. Jack, he's already trying to come in. And it's working. It's working, you guys. I am able to produce more. And I'm seeing the difference. So I just want to report that to you. If you haven't watched my other vlogs, you can go back and see what I was talking about implementing with the whiteboard and the goals for the week, which is really fun to also put on there, like how many videos I plan to make, how many shorts I need to make, how many posts I need to make. And it keeps me on track. And then just coming in here at regular set hours, knowing what I'm going to do that day makes a big difference. And another tip that I'm doing is before I leave, I make sure that I have the next day's project that's on my calendar ready for me. So I can just come right in here and get started and to clean my studio. So I try to leave an hour at the end of the day or at least an hour and a half, for completing all the listings of whatever I made that day, for cleaning my studio, and for getting the next day's projects all ready. So I think that's really important things to do, to keep in mind when if you are thinking about selling on Etsy and you're thinking about, how do I go about this? How do I go from, I have an idea, I want to sell, things on Etsy, and how do I go from that to actually making it happen? And I've had a couple of people asking questions about that in the comment section, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. You can start with a singular item on Etsy. One of the things I like to not do is have a whole bunch that come due on the same day. The reason why I don't like to do that, because you have, only when you list an item, you have, excuse me, you have like 90 days, and then that listing comes up for review. So some of the tips on listing on Etsy that I like is always put your listings on manual, not automatic renew. And the reason why is it gives you a chance to overlook it and just look at it and say, okay, it didn't sell in 90 days. Can I make it better? Is there anything I can do to it? Should I put it on sale? Should I take it off? Is it now, am I better at making upcycles and I can see why it's not selling? Or is it simply that I need to add more detail to it? These are things that the manual renewal gives you an option to change. If you don't do manual renewal on Etsy and you just hit, okay, renew my item, Etsy's pretty sneaky. They'll put auto renew on it. So you can go in there where you're in your edit features and click to select. Like if you're in your store, there's a little box up here on the left that you can click and select every item you have. And then you can go over to just a little ways over, click on edit options, and you can edit all of your listings all at once. So what I usually do, there's a feature in this says edit the renewal options. And I always make sure every now and then I go in and I edit all of them back to manual, because I forget, and Etsy knows you're going to forget this. They like auto renewal because they make that their money over really, really quick. But what I want to do is make sure that the item is something that I think it's going to sell. If it's not, and I'm like, I don't even like that, I wouldn't wear that, then I'm just going to pull it, because we improve, we improve in our skills, we improve in our, maybe our styles are even changing a little bit of what we're selling on Etsy. So always look and make sure that you're on, every now and then that your listings are on manual. Now let's talk a little bit about the listing itself. The reason I don't like to have 30 listings need to be renewed all at once, okay, is if you list something every day or every other day, it puts you on more pages in Etsy. You're going to be seen more because, if you do it all at once, it'll be in just one chunk in Etsy. I prefer to try to do something every day or every other day. Now, How many items should you have when you go to start a store? That's up to you. You can start with one. And if you plan on consistently adding, I would try to start with at least 10, but you can start with one. You could put one up, try to get in a day or two, get another one up, and then just get the ball slowly rolling. It's kind of the same way in, I think their algorithm works kind of the same way like YouTube's does and stuff. Basically, if they see a lot of traffic coming to your item, if they see a lot of activity going on there, then they're going to promote you more, because the algorithm says, oh, this is something that people want. And a lot of people are upset with YouTube for blaming YouTube's algorithm. And there is some political agenda in some of their algorithms. But the main thing is it always comes down to what? The almighty dollar. So they're going to promote what makes them money. If there's high traffic and high volume items, they're going to promote that in their algorithm because they want to make more money. You think about it, if you were setting up Etsy, you're going to promote products and stores and things that make you the money. That's just common sense, right? That's the ones you're going to talk about. I mean, let's just say you have 100 items for sale in your store, but you have one particular item that everybody wants. Let's just say you had that. When somebody says, I don't know if I want to go to your store, what item are you going to tell them about? You're going to tell them about that one item in your store that everybody loves. Why? Because you want them to come back, you want them to buy it. And Etsy is no different. Etsy is just a big store. We're the people putting the product in their store. And they're going to try to make as much money as they can. Pictures, good pictures are really important on Etsy, on any platform. I really struggle with that, mostly because I only have a phone and it's not even the greatest phone. So if you can afford better, or you have better cameras, photography gear, natural lighting is really good. If you can't get the colors in your picture, there's people that go out and actually looks really pretty with upcycled clothing to do a very quaint clothesline and have your item hanging there in the sun for a little bit while you take some pictures, or you'll find a place that, like, underneath a porch is a really good. It's not direct sun, but it's all natural light, doesn't cast shadows. That would be a great place to take some photos. You could do it up very quaint with some pots. And I just really struggle to have a good place to take photos. Even my studio is very small. Even on this upcycled channel, I really struggle just trying to get back far enough to get an item in. I live in an old little tiny house in the country, and there's just, I thought about doing some of the photo stuff outside, but honestly, I don't know. If I go out there, I'm going to be bothered by cats or dogs, or somebody's going to look me up. So I'm going to struggle. So I just do the best I can, and that's what you'll find you'll have to do. You'll just have to make do with what you have. Just being aware of the details of things you can do. Like, I bought different lighting kits. I recently bought a brighter light for my studio area to make the sewing videos. I'm trying to find a microphone. Right now I'm not even using a microphone. I'm just using what the camera has, and it gets a wind noise in the background, which I don't like. I'm struggling to find a microphone. You're going to find you're going to have your own struggles, and it's that way in life, whatever you do. But I am doing everything on Etsy and on my YouTube channel just on my phone right now. I don't know how long I'll do it that way, but that's what I'm doing right now. As far as your Etsy store goes, just try to make it, I don't like a lot of, in the listings, a lot of fluff. Like, people, if you get too wordy, they don't read the important details. I try to break things up in blocks, like the size of this, the size of this, the size of this. Give as many important details that they need to know, but without just over cramming it up with all kinds of words, because they'll miss your important details. Maybe what you want to do is tell them, hey, measure something you love that fits you great and compare. I don't want them to miss the important things, and I want them to see the important details. So I try to keep it as quick and small and sweet as possible. That's another thing I suggest you do. Don't get over wordy. Give them the important information they need, and then, be careful on that, because people don't have a lot of time. They're going to be flip through a listing, And a lot of people don't even know how to find the details. When it says more about this item or whatever, they don't even know how to find it. They'll go there, and Etsy, I wish they would make it a little more visible. But a lot of people don't know how to find it. And they'll ask me, and I have to go into my own listing, copy and paste it to them. They go, well, what is the size of this? Very confused. And one thing you have to be careful is if they ask you, will this fit me? Okay, because you really have no way of knowing it. It's not like you're standing in their room or you can see them. Like if I asked you, hey, will that fit me? You're like, well, I don't know what size you are. I normally wear this. So what they're trying to do is, if it doesn't fit me, I want to send it back to you. I want you to make the decision, so it's not my fault. So what I try to do, that's what I try to do. I got conned a few times that way and out some shipping fees. I'm like, no, you can do your homework. You know, I put hours into this garment. I'm thrilled when it sells. It is crushing on everybody if it doesn't fit them. So what I suggest doing in your listings is put in there, measure something you love that fits you great and compare. And if they say, will this fit me? Say, here are the measurements, and just tell them that. Just measure something that fits you like you want this one to fit. Like length. How hard is it to take a little tape measure and measure the length of a dress that you like, oh, I want this one to be the same length, and then go look at the listing. If they don't care that much to even do the basics like that, I don't think they need it, okay? I don't want to constantly be getting items back. I think that to respect the fact that I spend hours putting this garment together, you know, and I don't know where I'm sending it either. The house could be full of pets, smoke, and things like that. I get it back, I'm going to have to wash it, I'm going to have to prep it all again, because now it might look a little different, frayed or something. I'm going to have to retake all my photos. And people watch your listings. If they see something come back, it is really hard to resell it, even if it's not your fault, even if it's a beautiful garment, there was nothing wrong with it, somebody just wanted you to know how big they were. It's totally unfair. So don't let people, if you're making it at an Etsy store and you're selling, don't let people do that to you. Make them make the decision and make them pay the shipping both ways, because they didn't do their due diligence. And make sure you list it as it is. Exactly the lengths, take the time to measure properly, take the time to write it out really well so that they don't have an excuse. And because here's what's going to happen, you're going to be hurt and they're going to be hurt. You don't want to lose a customer, they don't want to lose their money. So if we do our due diligence early, then very few people will be hurt in the process. And that's my suggestion for your listings. And it's okay to start with one. If you're going to have more, come after it. But if you just leave one in there and wait for it to sell, that's going to be very hard to get that sale. They're going to be like, what? One thing? You need to have a lot, not a lot, at least, I would say at least 10 to 20 in your store at all times. I try to never go under 30. That's actually hard for me sometimes because I sell sometimes as fast as I can make them. And which is great because I'm making money if I can get my butt to sit down, which I am now doing, and I'm so excited about it because I'm actually making good money now. My struggle right now is to find the products to upcycle, because I was using swap.com. I could go through, it was so nice, pick the colors, put together everything, and then just check out. Because it takes like a full day to go get items. And then I live in a rural area, so it would take me even longer. I have to drive like an hour, hour and a half away to find a bigger store. And then a lot of times your prices are also higher. So I don't like, because I'm not in the area, I can't check in every day or find out when it's bag day sale, or, you know, it's very frustrating. I go there and I have to buy what's there. So it's making a lot harder for me to get the product, to make my product right now. That's one of my big struggles. For your Etsy store, another thing, bit of advice is to remember, in retail with clothing especially, it is seasonal. Some of it's seasonal, so you're going to have some slow months, and you're going to have some months where everybody's got their tax refund and they're like, yay, I get to buy that thing I wanted. And so it is seasonal. For me, actually, Christmas is a slower time, which is why I'm trying to make a different product now. I'm trying to find something that people would buy around the holiday season, because Upcycled clothing is kind of a personal thing, and people are usually, buying for other people in the holidays, not themselves. So I do sell some garments that people want to wear to a holiday event. So I will create some that can be worn through Christmas on into the new year that have the Christmassy colors, and I will sell some of those. But it actually is one of my slower times of the year because people are spending their money on other people. Okay, another thing is people say, why don't you move off onto your other platforms? I've gotten asked that. And I might in the future, maybe if my YouTube channel is really, really big. But actually, I think if at some point I'll probably run out of ideas anyways. I don't know. So far, I'm managing to come up with new upcycles. I don't know what I'm going to do in the future, what future me is going to do. I think, truthfully, I really enjoy making the videos. If I had to choose between the two and the YouTube was making more, I probably would kind of just turn to making videos and not doing a store so much. I might, and I thought about doing a sewing product type store with my favorite sewing products instead of just Amazon affiliates, actually sourcing myself. But then, you only have so much time in the day, and it actually takes more time than you think to make videos, especially if you're doing editing and you have to film every aspect, overhead, side shot. I actually need 2 cameras going and switch between my cameras and things like that. Would be good to record my audio separate. I'm not doing any of that right now. So I can see how I could definitely upgrade to a bigger studio. Like if the channel got much bigger, I can see how I could absolutely improve the overall channel and make the channel itself my income. That to me seems more viable in the future than having my own shop on some other place. Part of it is when you see somebody selling thousands of hand upcycled pieces, there's only so much you can personally make. That means they are having other people making that product, and I don't know how much of that I would even be comfortable doing. So I think for me it will stay the way it's going to stay the way it is until some things change. But I like Etsy's platform for several reasons. One, they issue me a 1099, and that's just easy on my taxes. 2, their listing fees are not outrageous. Their in-seller fees are not outrageous. And honestly, it covers a huge portion of it, the discount they give me on shipping. So the platform is huge. Millions of people coming onto the platform. I have not personally had a problem with Etsy. I'm grateful to have the platform, and the only thing lately that's been annoying is their new visibility search thing that tells me all my photos are bad. Like, I knew that. It's kind of personal, to tell some of your photos are bad over and over. But if you'd have a good light, now it doesn't say it on all of them. If I have a pastel one on a white background, it'll tell me I have low visibility. I don't know if they expect me to paint my door every time I do a different outfit or what. I thought about they have pull down background screens. I thought about that for the photo shoot. I'd rather have something more organic and nicer looking. So I have been thinking about where I just don't have wall space. I have a tiny house, and trying to get back and get perspective is in tiny rooms is almost impossible. And then you find in a tiny space, like I've got shelves everywhere, and it just doesn't give you room to have a really nice backdrop. Like, I'd love to do vintage shutters or potted plants in a chair. Like, I'd love to do that. Just where. So sometimes you're just limited by your situation, what you have. I don't have a professional camera. I only have my phone, and you're just limited by what you have. And so just make do with what you have. That's my suggestion. And start where you're at. If you wait till you have absolutely everything in place, you're just never going to start. you know, you're just never going to start. So just be, and my attitude is be thankful, be grateful, do the best with what I have. That's how I was raised. And it actually brings out creativity in you too, because you're like, okay, how can I make this work, instead of just having it all handed to you perfectly on a platter ready to go. It just encourages you to be a little more creative, and you should, even in my gardens out there, I'm like, okay, I don't have a latch. Maybe if I drill a hole in this piece of cedar, put a washer on the other side and a piece of PVC pipe and screw it in, I can make a turn knob. It works! So they're like, oh no, the coons can turn that. I know, wait, I'll drill a hole through one end and peg it to the wood door with a nail. I can pull the nail out and turn it, and the coons will never be the wiser. So sometimes you gotta just make do, and you actually end up with something cuter anyways. So a lot more fun. And okay, so that's it for me, guys. I really don't have a lot else other than just to tell you that the plans, your guys' advice, things like treating it like a job, showing up, you know, clocking in, and some of you are very creative, like dressing up to work, coming to your own front door and going in and going to work. That would especially work if you go out the front door dressed up, say goodbye to all your pets, come in the back door, go in your studio and go to work. I haven't had to do that yet. I have been pretty good about just coming in, sitting down, and doing my job, and it is paying off. Lining out my job for the day the night before. So what am I going to do now? My big thing right now that I'm focusing on is sourcing the products for the work week that I have ahead of me, what I want to make, and being realistic as to what I can find. Also, another thing I'm doing, which you won't know this if you have an Etsy store till you're open for a while. Excuse me. You won't know this till you've been open for a while, but in your Etsy store, but what products, go back and look through your sold orders. What is selling in your store? And you're going to find it's going to be the number one thing, which will shock me, is I have several styles that sell really well, but it's more about color combination. Getting a good color combination in a garment will sell it faster than just about anything. So being very attentive to good color combination. Pretend, here's my advice, pretend you're making it for yourself, and you'll also put more details in it. I know that sounds weird. It works for me. I think it will work for you. For some reason, I guess we're selfish critters, but when I think of what I would want to see if I'm going to make it for me, the color combinations come out better. I think I must just be entirely selfish or something, I don't know, but it works better for me if I say I'm going to wear this in my mind, pretend I'm making it for me. I seem to get better color combinations and better styling in it. Also, because I'm a really practical person, that may not be the same for you. It may not work for you, but for me it works because I'm also practical. So the garment tends to come out as something you can really wear. You can really wash it and really wear it. It's not just a bunch of things just loosely all stitched together that you can't wash, you can't take care of, and you can't really wear. It's actually put together, because I'm like, if I'm going to really wear this, I got to really wash it, because I really, really am tough on my clothes. So I end up creating a better garment, and the colors are better if I pretend I'm making it for me. I don't know why, but anyways, that's another little bit of advice. But go back and look through your sold items, and then try to just do more of what's selling the most. That's another thing to do. Go through, Walmart, if they never sold something, do you think they'd just keep ordering it in and then have their whole store fill up full of things nobody wants? That's another thing that I noticed. If there's sizes that I just don't sell, I'm not going to keep reproducing those sizes. Smalls and stuff just don't, and you'll see this. You go to the clearance rack, they're all full of smalls. And so I make very few of them for that reason, because they just don't sell. Pay attention to the sizes that keep selling out. Pay attention to the styles you keep selling. and just keep improving the products in your store that are selling and the styles that are selling. Don't be afraid to try new styles, but if they don't sell, it's okay to walk away from that new style and try, go back to your tried and true. And you'll find that that's what will happen. You'll just have some that become tried and true designs in your shop. And that's another bit of advice I would, after doing this for years, that's advice I would give you, is to go and it'll take a little bit of time for you making different product to see what's really selling in your store. Oh, another thing you can do, what I did when I first started out, is don't ask $150 for something when you have one item or 5 items in your store. Focus more on just getting some product moving. At first I started off, most of my clothing was like $42, $56, just in there, and I focused on kind of simple designs, cut it, but still making them cute. Cut a t-shirt off, attach some men's shirts, but make sure you put lots of cute little patches and details, and ask a smaller amount for it, just so you can start getting some numbers. And another thing you can do is create really cute smaller things to get those numbers, to get those sales. A lot of things I see other stores doing, they do like fabric earrings, fabric jewelry, neck pieces. There's headbands and headscarves and little smaller things that people would be willing to take a risk on your store and purchase, that are still cute, but the prices are lower. You'll find your groove. You just got to get started. So, okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you and blessed you out. If it did, don't forget to subscribe, to like and share the video. If you know other people that are thinking about doing Etsy, it can actually become a full-time income. At first, though, getting started, I would consider it a side hustle and something you could do in the evenings. And but yeah, absolutely, it can become a full-time income. I highly encourage anyone who can do it to learn how to work for yourself. You're going to be so much happier than punching a clock if you can make yourself do it. So I way prefer it. Oh my gosh, I would work twice as long to work for myself. Twice as long, any day of the week. So thank you so much guys for watching. I will see you in the next video, and until then, happy sewing.